I am Jacob, and again, joined by my lovely co-host, Cole.
What is up, everybody? How we doing tonight?
No cameras for today, and Chooch could not be on here after some game happened. No one really watched it or anything like that. It's just some game that he cared about for some reason. Couldn't
Yeah,
be
you
on
know.
here. Snyder couldn't come, sadly. But we got an exciting episode. We're going to hop into that. We're heading into the AFC and NFC championship games, Cole. We're nearly at the end.
Dude, I'm just not ready, okay? We're
We have
jumping
to wait
back into the
6 more months.
void.
We have to wait 6 more months.
Heck, spring ball's gonna kick off for college and then it's gonna come back, but it takes so long. Can't we just fast forward?
We gotta get used to watching the XFL.
Say a few prayers for us, please. This is trying times.
Very trying times. Hopping in with some NFL news though. Let's start off with Lions signing tight end Zach Ertz, originally an Arizona Cardinal, coming into the Detroit Lions. Cole, how do you think this can help Detroit's position in the playoffs so far?
Well, I'll admit when this signing first happened, I was a little baffled. And I still am to a degree, but I think that this move can be a good thing in terms of the playoffs because anytime you add a veteran presence to a team, that is always good. And, give Zach Ertz a lot of credit. He's been in the league for so long now, and he's a valuable asset in that degree. Um, But as a player, I don't know how impactful this is because nobody really knows how much he's got left in the tank. So this could be, a phenomenal move, or this could just be a good move for the experience. We'll see how it plays out on the field. What is your take, though, since this is your Lions?
This is my Lions. So I find this a great pickup in terms of I don't know if you're aware, but Sam Laporta was hurt a couple weeks ago. He was able to come back for the Bucks game, the Buccaneers game, and we were really worried that like he would go down with an injury, he would aggravate the injury that he had. So signing Zach Ertz, not only can you have Sam Laporta just rest a couple plays, he doesn't need to be the only tight end in Detroit. Uh, Heading into the 49ers game, he can be sort of the backup for Sam Laporta, which is kind of weird to say. You don't really say that for a veteran player, especially like a skill position player like a tight end.
No, that's
So
very rare.
yeah, so I find this a great pickup, and especially I don't think it was a lot of money either that they got him for.
Probably gave him a nickel and a burger.
Hey, this is the playoff run for Detroit, and this is pretty exciting to see Zach Ertz, just give more hope to this already very hopeful Detroit team. All right. And then we're going to have just a stream of coach hirings, starting off with Titans hiring Brian Callahan. Now, Cole, I know you have some thoughts and opinions about this, so I'm going to ask you if you could rate. We're going to ask this question for all these hirings. If you could rate this hiring as a coaching job through A to F, what would you give this for the Titans?
I'd give this a C. You know what? Actually, I'll go. I don't want to go C. I just feel like C is a little too high, but I don't want to go too negative. Um, I'll go D plus because
Okay.
it's not terrible. It's not an F, but it's not what it could have been. So my reasoning for this is you had Mike Vrabel, which with this team, that's like a B minus to C plus right there. And everybody's expecting oh, well, maybe they get Belichick, maybe they get, somebody else, maybe they try and reach out to Joe Brady and get an offense for the Titans for the first time in forever. And then you kind of go with a more defensive-minded coach, and it was like you basically downgraded from Vrabel, getting Vrabel. Like it doesn't make a lot
Yeah.
of sense in that aspect. So that's why I give my rating. But hey, best of hope to him. Hopefully he'll turn out to be pretty good.
Yeah, in terms of me, I give it some of the same rating, around a C plus, like maybe a C, around a C range, C plus, C regular, and just C minus. It just depends on how he can turn out to be at Tennessee with the situation that they're in. They need a lot of help in Tennessee in terms of just depth and that on that team.
Right.
Overall, I think they could have gotten maybe better, maybe a more. I don't want to say like this guy's. I don't want to say Brian Callahan's a bad coach, but I think they would have gotten a more like we know what's going to happen this season coach. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because it's a mystery right now. Going into the next coaching hire, though, the Panthers have hired their head coach for the future, Dave Canellis. Now, I'm going to ask the same question I asked with the Brian Callahan hiring. What would you give this hiring on a grade level, A through F?
So out of all the hires on this list, this was the most wild one to me, because
Whoa.
you could have thought about, and I mean this in terms of like, who is this guy? Like, um, I I've been watching football for a while now, and this guy, I've never really heard much about him. Um, he
Device. All right. A little cut up there, but what I think what Cole was trying to say is that this guy is a bit of an unknown hire. He was previously the offensive coordinator for the Buccaneers, and he's now signed a 6-year contract for the head coaching job. 6 years at that's just that to me that sounds like a really long time. Cole's back.
Okay, there we go. Sorry, folks, not too
Yeah,
sure.
go on with your point. By the way, I
But
want to add
oh, good.
they've hired him for 6 years. If you didn't see that,
Really, for 6 years?
that's a pretty long contract for a guy coming right in, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, look, he did
And
okay.
to answer your question, he was the offensive coordinator for the Bucs.
Right. That was going to be my next point. Like, he did okay with Tampa Bay this year, but I really don't know how much of that was him and how much of that was the talent around him that he got to coach. Stepping into Carolina, this is literally stepping into a depleted roster, not a lot of hope. I mean, it can't get worse. So I mean, I guess that's good. And maybe if you catch a little fire, it looks better. So as of now, I'm gonna go D. Hopefully he does good. I'm just not very hopeful for this, especially the Panthers.
Yeah, no, you need a lot more to help that team out on everything. In terms of what I think of this, so again, it's sort of a mystery hire. We don't know how he's going to really turn out. Could the Panthers have gotten someone better? I'm going to say no, because it's Vrabel, but does he want to go to the Panthers? Does anyone want to go to the Panthers?
That's true.
The Panthers are now like what Detroit used to be, where it was just like the desert in the terms of the NFL. Like this is where you go to for your career to die. And thank you, Carolina, for replacing that with Detroit. So I appreciate it, Carolina. I do hope he does good. In terms, I just can't believe that's a 6-year contract they gave this guy. They gave Dave Cannella. Like that's an extension contract. That's not a welcome to the job. Here's 6 years. But like that's just really caught me off guard.
Well, the interesting thing too, and like I was saying, like he did good with the Bucks offense. Like his stats in the playoffs went as following: 834 yards, 626 passing yards, 55 points. So, if he really, has a spark here, maybe he connects with Bryce Young and company, but I'm very skeptical. I hate to be
Yeah,
this way because I like to believe in the new guy, but it's just I don't
it's
see it
scary.
here. Yeah, maybe if this was like a Seattle hire, I'd be more on board with it, or like a team who was somewhat put together. But since it's Carolina, that's why I'm like, yeah, this is a D, but not because of him, just
Just
because of
digging
the
his own grave.
situation. Pretty
Just
much, yeah.
yeah. So overall, I give this maybe a D plus. I would say not in terms of him as a coaching. It's just it's Carolina.
Exactly.
It's gonna take probably like 10 years to get that thing up and running. Um, overall, pretty okay. So going on to the next coach hiring, after all the talk about Bill Belichick maybe signing with this team, they have decided to hire Raheem Morris, former uh is it defensive coordinator, I think, for the LA Rams this season.
Your thought is correct, by the way.
Yeah. Um now it's okay, I want to start off with this one. This is weird to me considering how much of an offensive beast that Atlanta could be.
Right.
With, you got Kyle Pitts, you got Drake London, you got, a somewhat I don't even want to say like a somewhat it has a pretty bad offensive line, but you have this offensive team and then you get a defensive minded guy. It's a little off guard to me. Like it caught me a little off guard, but I think that's what they should be doing as of right now is because since you have all these weapons on offense, you don't really have to coach them. They know what they're doing. You just need a solid quarterback to be drafted for you guys, and they can be all good, but with the defensive coordinator to help out this Atlanta defense, they need help on the defensive side of the ball. So
Extremely.
overall, I'm gonna give this a B minus. I'll say. What about you, Cole?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a fair rating. I'm probably gonna go a little lower. I'm gonna go with a C, and the reason, kind of, again, not so much the coach, because the idea here is good, believe it or not, about like, okay, what's the thing Atlanta struggled with forever? It's a defense. Now this guy comes in, he's a
28-3. 28-3.
yeah. Well, it's just like I know some Atlanta fans were really kind of upset about this because they're like, they really wanted Bill Belichick. They really wanted to have their dynasty with him. But think about this, Atlanta fans, in all seriousness. You're not getting prime Bill Belichick, okay? You're getting probably retiring in a few years Bill Belichick if you were to have gotten him, okay? He might have got you up and running, but he would not have had a dynasty. So they thought long game here, and I respect that because if you think about what Raheem Morris has been able to do, he's pretty good. I mean, this guy, he shows a lot of hype around him, and what he can bring. Like I said, he got to work with Sean McVay. Sean McVay doesn't just hire anybody. He knows football inside and out. He remembers like every play that happens in every game. If you're on that guy's staff, you're doing something right in terms of knowing football. Okay, so I think the Falcons are in really good hands with this hire, and I think you can expect this defense to be really good. However, my fear is with this hire, Are we gonna see a Tennessee repeat in Atlanta? Are we gonna see a really tremendous defense, a mediocre offense, and not doing anything because of said mediocre offense? So for that reason, I'm gonna give this a C, higher than most on this list, but
Man, you're not letting
I'm
anybody get above a C.
no.
Maybe
I
this next guy that we talk about will, though. Hopefully.
It's possible, definitely possible, but yeah, I'm gonna go with the C just because I still have that lingering fear. I would hate to see this much offensive talent get wasted again. I mean, it couldn't get much worse than it was, but I mean, Bijan
No.
Robinson, Kyle Pitts were just getting
Got a
abused
total of
like
like 3
100.
catches and like 5 carries a game. Yeah.
Yeah, so it can't get much worse for those guys, but I'm still fearful about it. They need a good offensive mind to come in there, and this team could be scary.
Yeah, I definitely see that. All right, so the last piece of news that we got here before we go into last week's games, the divisional round. This is probably the biggest news so far in the offseason, unless like Bill Belichick signs with the Buccaneers or something like that. Just something weird like that.
Imagine.
But this team was I predicted this all the way before I heard anyone else talking about it. So I will be taking credit for this. I expect my paycheck through the mail. But former Michigan head coach, just coming off of a win, getting the national championship for Michigan, Jim Harbaugh, has been named the new head coach for the LA Chargers. Now, I want to be the last one to talk about this. So
All right.
All right, A through F. I want to hear it from you, Cole.
Well, I'm gonna give this an F minus just
No,
I'm kidding.
remove them.
No, but in all seriousness, I mean, what is there to say? I mean, this is an A higher. I'm not gonna say A plus. Nobody will ever get an A plus for me in terms of a higher. Nick Saban didn't get an A plus. Bill Belichick didn't get one. Nobody does. But this is an A. Jesus Christ and Mother Mary would be the only A pluses. But this is as close as you could get to a home run, knocked it out of the ballpark, went, caught it, gave it back to the umpire. Home run that you could hit.
Signed it, gave it to a fan. Like,
yeah. I mean, look at the intangibles here for Jim. First, he's with the Niners, and he did phenomenal with the Niners. I mean, oh my gosh, he got them to be in the Super Bowl. Yes, they lost to the Ravens, but he still got them to that point. If you look at his college resume, I mean, it's impressive. He came to Michigan at a time where, Michigan for the longest time, and a lot of you Michigan fans, if you've been watching for forever, you'll know what I'm talking about.
You just have to remind us.
Yeah, I mean, you guys before Harbaugh, it was rough,
very low
sledding.
hopes.
Yeah, you were lucky if you were competing with Ohio State for the Big Ten. Now you're winning it 3 years in a row. So massive changes there. And then you look at his time at Stanford before Michigan, he was good there. You look at his time at Utah, he was good there. I mean, everywhere
it just
this
goes
guy
on
goes,
and on and on.
Yeah, exactly.
It's never ending.
He goes, he's a winner. So, I love this hire, and not to mention Justin Herbert will finally get a chance.
Finally get a coach
to prove people wrong. They won't be blowing, massive leads to Jacksonville with this guy. It's just not going to happen.
Man. So can I go now?
Go for it.
Now, yes, I'm a little bit upset that Jim Harbaugh is leaving Michigan, but us Michigan fans are happy for him that he's going to go into better, brighter things, because He's done so much for Michigan. He's turned its school with no hope, with the third biggest stadium in the world, and turned this into a national championship winning team. And we cannot thank you enough. And we hope that you can win a Super Bowl at LA. But this hire is an A plus, I would say, because not only are you going to get so much help with Justin Herbert finally getting the coaching that he deserves and he should have been getting his whole NFL tenure, but just also the offense. This guy knows how to build an offense. We've seen it everywhere he goes. He knows how to build an offense, and with a quarterback with even no like help or hope at all, he's been able to turn it around. We've seen it at San Fran. We've seen what he was able to do. We've seen it at Stanford, what he was able to do with their quarterback situations. And he's going to help out a guy with very much hope, a lot of hope. So I'm happy for him. You know, I love Jim Harbaugh, so I'm now an honorary Chargers fan. No.
Add another team to the list.
He's added. No, I'm not like that. But it will be a team I like. And we know that they're not going to be like, maybe not in the playoffs the first season. They might surprise us. But within the next coming years, maybe give it 3, 4, even less than that, maybe the Chargers will definitely be in Super Bowl contention. And even better, Justin Herbert might be in MVP conversations. Finally.
Yeah, I mean, this is massive for him. He's got to be loving life.
He really does.
So, on a side note,
okay,
before we continue on here, I just want to get your quick take. Well, it doesn't have to be quick. I just want to hear it. What are you thinking about the new man in charge for the Maize and Blue, Sharon Moore?
I like it. I like a lot of people are doubting it. Like a lot of people doubt this entire just because it's not Jim Harbaugh, one of the best. I'm gonna say it, Jim Harbaugh, one of the best coaches in football, period, college or NFL.
Yeah.
Is that crazy to say?
No, I mean, no, I don't think so.
Okay, so Sharon Moore is not a bad coach. I don't know where people get that information. I don't know where people get that, that take from. I think he has a lot of promise to him. I don't think, they're going to do as well as they did this year, obviously. But I think he has a lot of promise with this team.
I like that.
Also, I want to get your take. Do you think in the draft that the Chargers will now select Blake Corum?
Well, I think they draft J.J. McCarthy and trade Herbert.
God, that'd be horrible.
Imagine the riots in L.A.
My first move as an LA Charger again, because he played for LA.
Right.
Well,
J.J. McCarthy. Oh gosh, yeah, that's how you lose a fan base, folks. But
we gave you all this money.
But to answer your question, I think that there's definitely a chance they take Blake Corum. Now, personally, I think Harbaugh was wishing Donovan Edwards would have headed to the draft because he suits the LA offense a little bit better than Corum since he's basically, in my opinion, a better Austin Eckler, and I know some people may hate that, but I really don't care because Eckler is getting older and they need a replacement. So Blake Corum could be a really good power back, kind of like a get in there pass blocker, and just, hey, I need a few yards, go up and get it, and then be more explosive. So I think it would be a good move if they did it, and he's kind of projected later, so it's definitely a possibility.
Yeah,
but
I'm
third
round and fourth round pick.
Exactly, yeah. And I think Harbaugh's kicking himself though, going, come on, Donovan.
Come on, Donovan. Oh, did you see the Chargers Twitter changing their profile picture to the Jim Harbaugh picture.
I did not.
It's that like close up face view. You know what it's so popular. You know what I'm talking about.
It's beautiful.
But yeah, that will be it for the NFL news though. Going into last week's divisional round, what an exciting week that we've had. We've had a number one seed struggle for like an hour of football and then come back in the end. And then we've had upsets far right.
We don't talk about that one.
Until we get there, we're going to start off, though. We're going to go to Texans and Ravens. Now,
I'll start off with this one if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
All right. So, listen, I know there's a lot of Texans fans out there who are happy with the season, and I mean, you guys should be. You know, this was more than a turnaround than I think anybody could have pictured in a year. You know, it was a real risk trading with the Cardinals to move up and get Will Anderson, and of course, you know, taking C.J. Stroud with the second. That was wild. Like everybody's thinking, oh, Cardinals will get 2 top picks, but you guys flipped the script. You changed the narrative, and now they're getting, you know, 1 really good pick and then 1 a little bit later on. So that's massive to start with. And also just a tremendous job by D'Amico Ryan's first year head coach. I mean, again, talk about just a shot in the dark here that nobody saw coming. But to talk about this game, this was an interesting game for about a half. And that's kind of what I said would happen in this game, because it was 10-10 at half. People were jumping, people were excited. They're going, hey, maybe there's a shot that that number 1 seed falls here. And then that Ravens elite talent just came through. Lamar Jackson, he kind of didn't have the full day as a passer that most people wanted. Yes, I saw it. I saw the memes. But he made up for it with his running game. Combined, he had 252 total yards rushing and passing. He had 4 TDs combined. So, you know, say all you want about, oh, he's not quarterbacky enough, but I mean, you can't get much better than that. And he was safe with the ball. He didn't turn over the ball. So I really don't get what that was all about. Zay Flowers was the leading receiver. He had 4 receptions for 40 yards. Kind of a silent day for the wide receivers. They didn't really do a whole lot. This game was definitely one more on the ground. But that's how Baltimore likes it. I mean, that's kind of the Harbaugh style, if you will. That's how Michigan won their natty. That's how Baltimore has been able to win games. They've been doing it on the ground, utilizing Lamar Jackson, making the game easy for him to make some really elite plays. And then, don't think I forgot about you, defense. How about this Ravens defense? I mean, you want to talk swarming to the football, that this is textbook. Patrick Queen had a phenomenal day. Roquan Smith, he was the leading tackler. He had 7 total tackles, 5 solo, 3 sacks for this, or excuse me, 0 sacks. I was looking for tackle for loss. But, you know, that just speaks volumes. This team didn't have 1 sack. They didn't have 1 turnover for defense, pick-wise. They had 1 fumble, but it was recovered, so you know, that really doesn't count. But the fact that they were able to play this good of defense without getting a sack, an interception, or a fumble should speak volumes about this team and just how dominating that defense was. It almost kind of flashes you back to the 01 days when you had Reed and Lewis. At least for me, it did. And then as for the Texans, I mean, kind of just a bittersweet day. I mean, you hung around for half and then just could not get anything growing. You got shut down, and hang your heads high though. One heck of a
Yeah.
season.
Still nowhere near nowhere near where you are, where I expected you guys to be. I thought you guys would win maybe like 5 games at the most.
Right.
Definitely not facing Baltimore in the divisional rounds. That's what I'm telling you. But yeah, overall, I was again really nervous going into the second half of this game. I don't know if you watched at the end of the second quarter of the game. Lamar Jackson got sacked 3 times in like one drive.
Yep.
I was like, what is our O-line doing? Like, this is a top 5 O-line in the league. What are they tired? What is happening right now? And at the press conference, at the post-game press conference, Lamar Jackson, he was like, oh yeah, a lot of cursing was involved. I can't really say it here, but a lot of cursing trying to get our head back in the game after that, pretty poor O-line performance. Like, you can't have your quarterback getting sacked 3 times in one drive. I'm sorry.
No.
You're not Jacksonville. I'm sorry to say it. You're not Jacksonville. You're not Tennessee.
Trevor Lawrence.
Like, that was really scary for me to see. And then plus, like, them being tied when that was happening. Oh, man. I was having a heart attack. And I can already see people saying, oh, he only got 152 yards. Never mind the 121.8 rating that he got.
He's not quarterbacky enough.
Yeah, he's not quarterbacky enough. Got 2 touchdowns, though, and no interceptions. Still 16 out of 22. 100 rushing yards as well. Sorry, but that's a running back's job. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Exactly.
I'll never talk again. Overall, I'm happy for the Ravens win. Texans are eliminated though. See you in the off season. Going on to the next game though, man. When I tell you that all the 49ers fans were sweating bullets. Now, Cole, so this is what I've seen during this game.
Yep.
I seen the Packers play better football than the number 1. The 7th seed played better football than the number 1 seed for 59 minutes of this game, for 58 minutes of this game. And then right at the end, they were able to come back. The 49ers were able to come back and just take this one away. Plus the interception at the end of the game by Jordan Love.
Oh, that was tragic.
That was like on the run, through like behind your back in triple coverage. What were you thinking? He is somewhat of a rookie though, so I'm not going to go too hard into him. Plus the Packers no one thought they would go this far, as I was saying about the Texans a little bit ago. But I'm just surprised by how much the Packers were able to be better in this game than the San Francisco 49ers, what a lot of people thought were the best team in football this year, especially on the NFC side. Aaron Jones had one heck of a day, 18 carries for 108 yards. Wow, dude. Jordan Love, 21 out of 34, 194 yards. Got 2 touchdowns, but 2 picks, the one at the end. Really put a sour taste in my mouth. I really wanted listen, I like the 49ers, but I kind of wanted the Packers to win so the Lions could have another home game in the playoffs. But Romeo Doubs also got 4 receptions for 83 yards. Man, this Packers team was really inspired. And if it wasn't for a missed field goal earlier in the game, this game would have been tied. Maybe going sorry about that.
Yeah,
maybe going into overtime if that kicker made that field goal earlier in the game. But yeah, it was just really surprising to me. Yeah, Brock Purdy had another Brock Purdy day, 23 out of 39, 252 yards, 1 touchdown. Christian McCaffrey having a CMC day, getting 17 carries for 98 yards and 2 touchdowns.
So, I'm gonna
man.
jump in here because you kind of called me here, and I need
Alright.
to address
You need to
the
say something
49ers.
before I take all of it away.
I do. So 49ers, come here. Hey, bring it in. Okay, we need to have a discussion. You see, I have tried for so long to give offensive play callers the benefit of the doubt. I have all year. Okay, well, maybe they didn't see this. Maybe they didn't think of this. Maybe they thought about XYZ. Okay, this is the playoffs. This is the divisional round. You have a guy who is destroying the defense every time he touches the football, and you gave him 17 rushes. Do you see my problem with this? He averages 5.8 yards a carry. 5.8. Do you realize, Niners, that if you gave him the ball every play based off of that statistic, he would have a first down every 2 plays? Did you know that? It's common math. Now, I'm not saying you should give him the ball every play. I just want to clarify that. But 17 times? 17.
At least 20.
Give him 25, give him 30. Like, what? I don't understand modern day play callers. Also, Brock Purdy is not a system QB. Again, I can't believe I have to.
This
Shut
game
up.
he was. This game he was. I'll say it. I like Brock Purdy. I've been defending you with this. This game was not one of his games, though. I'm going to say it.
I know it wasn't one of his greatest games, but he was safe with the ball. He did what he could. I mean, there really wasn't a whole lot he could do when his wideouts were getting boxed.
Plus, Deebo Samuel wasn't really showing up as much either.
Exactly. Now, there were some throws he missed. Don't get me wrong. There were some. But, like, all of them, to blame him for this, I mean, that's wild to me. And then also, Jordan Love, bro. Like, what a good game. And then you wrecked it. You
all
just
the praise
killed it.
just taken away from that last play of the game.
Like, I get you want to be the hero. I get you want to make an amazing play, but you had time. It wasn't like it was the last play of the game.
You
And
had
you
like a minute
forced
left or whatever
exactly,
with
yeah.
some timeouts.
You forced up the shitty ball that like a middle school team could have picked off. I just don't understand what the thought process was. So that was terrible. So listen, I know everybody's probably scared about the Niners going forward. I think this was a wake-up call. Okay, like this was the hey guys, we gotta get our shit together moment, or we're gonna get out next round because Detroit's not playing around.
Yeah,
So,
Detroit is not playing around.
this is the wake-up call, and it's gonna be interesting to see how they respond to that. But also too, the Niners and Packers is always close in the playoffs. I don't know what it is. It doesn't matter who looks like the better team on paper. It's prone to many upsets, and it's always close. Keep that in mind with this game too.
Yeah. Going into the next game though, man, if you were going to watch any game this week, this was one of the games that you should definitely have been watching. Bucks versus Lions. Man, when I tell you that this stadium was roaring, this game actually broke the record that they set the week before this at the Rams game. So now that record has been put up with this game, which is just insane to me.
Yeah.
Like, from a guy that's been to Ford Field and like watched the Lions game, they're not like that. But for them to be like this now, it's dream come true for me.
So, I'll start and then you close with the Lions since again
Go,
this is your team. So,
go
I'm gonna
ahead.
start with the Lions, ironically enough. Okay, offensive coordinators again. Let's have a talk. This game, I will let it slide because the passing game was hot. But I do want to say, you gave 19 rushes, 19 to Montgomery and Gibbs combined. That's 9 and 10. What are we doing? Like, I get Goff kind of had the hot hand, but you still gotta feed the hot hand in the running back room. I mean, Gibbs was killing it.
Mm-hmm.
Every time he got the ball, it was like a 20-yard gain. So I really don't, again, fully understand offensive coordinators. So can we just like make sense next week, please? Thank you. All right, and then as for Tampa Bay, I mean, this was. I mean, this was just this. I don't even really have words because this was just that interesting. They had 2 sacks. They had 5 QB hits on Jared Goff, and then on top of that, like they didn't get any turnovers that were that like groundbreaking at all. They didn't
No.
get any picks. They didn't get any fumbles. And again, praise to the Lions for getting fundamentals down this week. But like, come on, Tampa, you're a defensive, like you're known more for your defense than your offense. I would argue. That's an unacceptable stat. Baker Mayfield, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 349 yards on 41 attempts. He was 26 for 41. Um, I don't understand. He looked really good last week against the Eagles, and then this week he was like, "I'm gonna show moments of greatness, and then I'm gonna throw a pick."
This was a Josh Allen stat sheet, if I remember looking at one.
Yeah.
This is a Josh Allen stat sheet, throwing the ball for so many times, completing half of it, getting 2 interceptions, but like 3 touchdowns. This
And
is a Josh Allen stat.
And don't worry, at least they ran the ball. Oh, wait.
Oh
They
no.
ran it 9 times to Rashid White, who had 55 yards. 6.1 average per carry. Maybe this running thing should be more prevalent. I don't know. I'm just saying.
No one runs the ball anymore. Patrick Mahomes is in this sport. Who do you think you are?
We'll get to that. I don't want to. I don't. I just. No.
But you good?
Yep.
Can I take a second?
Go for it, Chief.
Man, so what a culture shock that Dan Campbell has brought to this team. May I remind you that the Rams and the Buccaneers were both hot teams. They were coming off like way unexpected seasons, and they were gonna projected to do pretty well in the playoffs, if you remember, like analysts and all that. So, just Detroit being able to beat these really hot teams that are going to the playoffs. No one has any really faith in them. They think they'll get. They think they were going to get first rounded, and then for them to put on not only an offensive performance, which is what we really expected, but somewhat of a defensive performance. With at the end of the game, they had a lot of time left, and they were scary. They might have marched down the field and scored a touchdown, and might have tied the game a bit. And then for Derek Barnes to get that game sealing interception at the end of the game, his first interception of his career, might I add. So,
What a time.
what a time to be a Detroit Lion in this day and age. And it's just, man, congratulations to the Buccaneers. I want to point out too, because no one expected you to get this far. Mike Evans also, I don't know how you're not re-signing this guy. 8 receptions for 147 yards and 1 touchdown. Wow, dude. I remember like we were not able to stop him at all. And how really can you stop Mike Evans?
Like triple team him. I'm just saying.
Calvin Johnson, but more. But yeah, if
Also, what a time to be a Michigan sports fan, right? You got the Wolverines winning the Natty, and then you got, the Lions just killing it and getting to the conference championship, and then you got Michigan State sucking. Oh wait,
that happens every year, dude.
Yeah, that's a yearly occurrence.
Yeah, can I also point out Jared Goff had 6 carries? Why? Why'd they give Jared Goff? Dude, that made no sense to me. But overall, I'm happy for this Detroit team. Sam Laporta was shocking us because again, he was injured. No, people didn't really weren't expecting him to play for this game, but getting 9 receptions for 65 yards on a pretty not 100% foot is surprising to me. And again, dude, Jahmyr Gibbs, if there were any doubts that was still lingered about why did we draft a running back in the first round? We needed help on defense. This game silenced them 1,000%, or at least it should have.
If they gave him the ball more.
If they gave him the ball more. But when he got that ball, even though it wasn't a lot, he showed out with it. If you were watching that game, you seen the speed he was taking off at. It was exciting to say the least. But we have to go into the last
rip
game.
Off the Band-Aid. Let's do it.
So, a little bit of backstory, you JCPians. You broken chairs out there. We were watching this game with Snyder, the Bills fan that was on here for a couple episodes. Yeah, Snorlax. And he is a hardcore Bills fan, and this game like shattered him. Bills versus Chiefs. We have to talk about it. I'm sorry. I don't want to. I don't like that the Chiefs are making another AFC championship game, but we have to talk about it.
Yep.
It just it really breaks my heart because I really wanted to see a Bills Ravens AFC championship game.
Right.
And I think me and Snorlax both agreed that if our teams were going to lose and be out of the playoffs, it would be for that game. And he did not want to lose this way. Buffalo did not want to lose in this fashion. Like, I don't. Sean McDermott is definitely on the hot seat if that isn't prevalent enough. Like, and yes, there were some bad plays by Josh Allen near the end of the game with like a wide open Stephon Diggs, but he decided to gun it for the end zone. I get that. But me and Cole and Snorlax were saying, like, why are they playing for a field goal? Like, we were all remarking that. Why are they playing for a field goal to tie it instead of, marching down the field and getting a touchdown, draining the clock out a bit? No, you were playing for a field goal from the 40s with wind in Buffalo. What did you expect to happen?
So I need to make a comment on this because this is unbelievably sick, and I feel like it happens every year, honestly, and it shouldn't. So just like the Packers game, right? The kicker, Carlson, I believe it was, misses a field goal, and people were being like terrible to him. I saw that. Tyler Bass, they took it a step further. They gave this man death threats for missing a field goal that wasn't even his fault. I mean, look.
No.
The wind was going crazy. I mean, anybody could see that. The fact that McDermott...
I even said, like, I remember. I hope you remember right before the kick happened, the little pieces of paper on top of the goalpost they showed. I was like, oh, it's windy. Oh,
yeah.
Oh, and just a sad pit of dark ran down my spine. But go ahead with your remarks. Cool.
But guys, this is a game. All right, first and foremost, this is a game. And I get we get passionate. Believe me, when there's a Saturday night in Death Valley, there's nobody more passionate than me. I get it. But to say and make threats to kill somebody over a game, how low have we stooped as a society to think this is acceptable in any form of the word? Listen, I know there's a lot of people who bet out there who might have bet on the Bills to win. I don't care about your bet. I'm just being honest. I don't care. I don't care if you took the Bills to cover. I don't care if you took the Bills to win outright. I don't care if you bet your whole house on it. Listen, if you were dumb enough, and I called you dumb, remember that, okay? If you were dumb enough to do that, and yet you blame somebody else for losing, that's on you, but that's not on them. They're out there playing a game for fun. That they should not have to worry about being killed because they make a mistake. I've made millions of mistakes in my life, millions.
Like throwing
And
a rock at a kid's head.
it's another story for another time. But but yeah, I mean, look, we need to stop this trend now. This is sick. And this isn't the first time. Like when Foster Moreau dropped that touchdown earlier in the season against I think it was New Orleans. Like they were like, "Oh, Cancer should have won," and I'm like, "Are you serious? Like, do you not realize what you're saying?" Because at the end of the day, when we're all dead, we're not gonna talk about a game that happened. We're gonna talk to God based off of how we are, based off of how much we loved. I mean, we're not going to talk about, man, this guy missed a catch or missed a kick, uh, and I was rude to him because I thought it was justified. Okay, so please, let's knock this shit off.
Yeah, unbelievable. But while you were talking about the bad side of Tyler Bass, the people, how people are perceiving him, I'm going to talk about the good side of humanity. That at the end of after the game, donations of Tyler Bass's charity of a nonprofit cat adoption group that Tyler Bass runs has reached over $270,000. Um, Based from Buffalo supporting Tyler Bass. So, and also at the end of the game, Josh Allen did remark that he should not have been trying to dart for the end zone right away and should have made that a wide open throw that he did see. And at the end of the game, he made sure to wait for Tyler Bass at the tunnel to hug him and be like, "It's all right, man. You should not have been put in that position anyway." It's but going on to the actual game here, like I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it from Kansas City. I really am. The fact that they aren't able to take a win with class is despicable. And don't get me wrong, this is sports. This is the NFL. You win, you're allowed to talk crap at the end of the game or say whatever you want. But the fact that they haven't been able to win with class or lose with class any matter this whole season it leaves a bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah.
But Josh Allen, 26-39, 189 yards, one touchdown, plus the running game from Josh Allen has definitely improved this season, getting 12 carries, 72 yards, and two touchdowns on the ground, not even in passing game anymore. And then Patrick Mahomes getting 215 yards, 17 out of 23, and two touchdowns. Isaiah Pacheco also got 97 yards out of 15 carries and one touchdown. It really sucks to see. And at the end of the game, me and Snorlax were talking. We all three were talking, and he's like, "He's not. They're not going to get past Baltimore's defense."
Oh yeah, he's going Baltimore.
He's going Baltimore and Lions all the way, and I cannot be happier for him about that part. But it does suck to see. It does suck to see Buffalo go out this way.
Yeah, I'll talk about this game now. I just wanted to make that clear before we started.
Mm-hmm.
give credit to this Kansas City team. I mean, look, the refs did help them. There was some questionable calls, but at the end of the day, Patrick Mahomes, he played a really good game. 17 for 23, 2 touchdowns, 215 yards. He was safe with the ball. Isaiah Pacheco played really good, 15 carries, 97 yards, 1 TD. Clyde Edwards-Helaire had a few nice plays. Travis Kelce had 2 touchdowns, or excuse me, Taylor Swift's boyfriend. Either way,
Whoever that guy is.
yeah, you know, and this Kansas City defense, they came up when they had to, and it's more so Josh Allen and the Bills stepping in their own way because really no defense played good in this game. Just being honest, but for the sake of not fully killing off any Chief fans we have. I'll say that.
No, I'll say it. I'll kill off everybody, every Chiefs
Oh
fan
my
that we have
god.
here.
So, and then for the Bills, Josh Allen, he played really good for a majority of this game, but again, just the late game idiocracy that came back and costed his team what could have been a win. Not just taking what the defense gives him. Instead, he tried to be too much, and that's what happens. All in all, he had 3 touchdowns. He was safe with the ball again, minus the one fumble that
Yeah.
that kind of sucked. But everything else, he was really good. Dalton Kincaid had a pretty good game, 5 receptions for 45 yards. Stephon Diggs really did not exist much in this game.
Yeah.
And
Dude, I don't know what it is with Stephon. He complains every time he doesn't get the ball. And then every time he does get thrown the ball, he doesn't catch it. So I don't know what to tell you, Stephon.
exactly, yeah, he had 8 targets this game, and he only caught 3 passes. So that's sounds like
Trade
a
him.
personal issue. Honestly, yes.
Trade him.
Yeah.
Like, if he's... What has he done in Buffalo? I'm going to be honest. What has he done in Buffalo?
He had like one really standout year, and other than that, it's not much.
Nothing. He cries and complains when he doesn't get thrown the ball, and then he gets thrown like a perfect dot to him, and then he doesn't catch it. When the guy tripped before he was able to cover him. So I don't know what you want, Stephon.
Also,
get a trade.
give James Cook credit. I mean, 18 for 61. He had a really good game. And then back to McDermott or whoever decided some of these things we need to talk. Okay, who thought it was a good idea to run a punt fake to DeMar Hamlin? Yeah, that play that was terrible. I don't know what they were thinking. I mean, I know what they were thinking because they saw 10 on the field, but like that was why not give it to James Cook? Why not give it to one of your faster guys? You gave it to DeMar Hamlin?
DeMar is not a speed guy or a fake punt guy or a guy you hand it off to at all.
No.
I don't even think he's a safety anymore. He has like 4 tackles. He has less tackles than his jersey number.
Yeah. So that play was dumb.
Like, oh my god.
And then the play, at the end, that whole drive of like, hey, we're just gonna play conservative, play for the field goal, like that was just dumb.
Yeah, we were all pointing that. I was like, why are you trying to tie the game when you could easily drain this clock out with like a 30 seconds left and just scoring for a touchdown? Instead, you're trying to play for a field goal from 40 yards away. And
also, my last player that I'm gonna give some praise to here, Khalil Shakur, man, what a game! 7 receptions, 44 yards, 1 touchdown. This dude, like, I know from the box score, you're like, oh, that doesn't sound that impressive for stats. What are you talking about? Watch the game. This guy was a threat.
Yeah, he really was. The whole time he was showing out like the whole game. But all right, that will do it for the divisional round from last week. Pretty entertaining week. Had some upsets, had some losses that we really wish could have been a different way. but it is time to go into our AFC and NFC championship games. We're going to start off with the NFC championship. Lions will now go into their first away playoff game in a while because the last two were at home. They will be going into San Francisco and facing off against the somewhat lackluster team that we've seen last week against the Packers. So do you think that the Lions will be able to sort of exploit what the Packers, like the holes that the Packers were able to sort of find in the 49ers team in general and be able to take this win? Or do you think the 49ers will stay in the playoffs, beating the Lions, sending the Detroit back home along with their fan base?
So before I pick this game, I do want to say I'll go first for this game, but I want to end off on the last one. You folks are gonna like this if you liked last week. Is that cool, dude?
I mean, yeah, that's good.
Okay, cool. So, to answer this game though, I think this is really going to be an interesting game. But I think Brock Purdy has been waiting for an opportunity like this to come out and have the best game of his career. And I don't know why. Like I said, it does not make a lot of sense from what we've seen, but think about it. He didn't have a good game against the Ravens in the regular season. He didn't have a good game against the Packers. This is the third time here, that unfortunately he's going to step up, and this 49ers team is going to rally to the call. Last week was a wake-up call for this 49ers team, and they are going to respond. This is going to be close. Very close game. Very come down to the last minute, but ultimately 49ers just have too much. Plus they're at home. That they're going to win this game. And I'm going to go off of a late touchdown to Christian McCaffrey.
All right. So the Lions story all season was they beat the Chiefs week 1. They didn't have Chris Jones or Travis Kelce. You know, it doesn't really matter. Lost to the Seahawks next week. Told you, same old Lions, dude. The Lions never really mattered. And then they kept winning and winning and winning and took some losses. And then Decker reported, and then they lost somehow. And then they just kept winning and winning. And then people kept on blaming every time they lost. Oh, same old Lions. I keep on telling you, dude, same old Lions. But as me and anyone with eyes can see, that these are not the same Lions.
Not at all.
Not at all. This isn't a team that can retire a player like 10 years early because of how bad they are. This is a team that has more heart than I'd say any other team in the NFL. This team has more passion and a more driving fan base. You can't hate the Lions. The Packers like the Lions this season. Tell me when the Packers will ever like the Lions other than this season. Never. And this game means a lot more than what a lot of other games mean in terms of just this is the Lions' chance and opportunity. This is their time. They haven't been in this position in 32 years. If you remember, in 32 years ago, in 1992, I believe they got knocked out of this game. And when I tell you the Lions have a vengeance and they have a heart, and they have been playing like the Lions wish they've been playing with all these star players. The Lions are going to destroy the 49ers, not by a lot, but they're going to win nonetheless. Give me the Lions winning in Levi Stadium. Man, it'll just be truly. All right, going into the AFC Championship game, though, the Ravens are going to be hosting this game. Chiefs will go into their second home playoff game ever in M&T Bank Stadium. Where else to play it but the bank, baby? the Ravens are, I believe, favored to win in this game, but the Chiefs have a pretty solid record with Patrick Mahomes beating number one defenses, which is what this Ravens team really has, is an amazing defense plus an amazing offense with them. So with this game, the big question is going to be, will Lamar save us from a Taylor Swift Super Bowl? Please, Lamar. And will Lamar cap off this amazing MVP season with a Super Bowl run?
Baltimore's a 4-point favorite, by the way, too.
Mm-hmm. And I say to that question, my answer is that Patrick Mahomes is going to walk in there and he's going to think he's at home in Baltimore. For some reason, he thinks everywhere is his home. But he's not ready for Baltimore. He's not ready for what the bank has in store for him. He is not ready for what this defense can do to offenses, because Baltimore's defense is not just a physical, just dominating defense. It's also a defense you have to get through with your mind. You cannot outthink this defense. This defense knows what you're going to do before you even call the play. So, and plus, it's just insane what this Baltimore team has been able to do. In Kansas City, I hope you're ready to take this loss at the bank. I'll see you in the Super Bowl. I will see you in the Super Bowl, Baltimore.
All right. I think, man, if we were live here in Baltimore, we'd have millions of people standing up and excited about that. Yeah.
We'll mug Taylor Swift.
All right. So, time for my pick then. All right. Pizza, I'm gonna need your help. Okay.
Okay.
Last week you were here and Snyder was here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And do you remember what our last game was that we covered?
No, I do not. What was the game that we covered?
We covered the Bills and the Chiefs.
The Bills and the Chiefs game. Yes, I remember now.
So, in that game, I made a few claims, and one of them was, do you remember how much I said Buffalo was going to win by?
I remember it was a lot more than what they actually were, than how many points they actually scored.
Yeah, I said 21 plus. That didn't go very well.
No.
And then, did you remember I mocked Taylor Swift with a certain song? You remember that?
Yeah, and then you got a copyright strict. Yeah. I remember that.
Yeah, that didn't fly very well with the folks at YouTube.
No. But yes, right. I remember.
So you do remember, okay?
Don't play a song again.
No, we're not doing shout this.
I don't know if there's some Baltimore song that you could play, but
no, we're not doing music this week.
Okay. That's good to hear.
So, could I really pick against Kansas City for a second week in a row?
Could you?
See, that's the question that everybody wants to know, because they're scary. I mean, every time they're doubted, they just come up and they sting you, and they win, and they win on the road. I mean, like, just look at this all-star cast, right? How could we pick against them? They got Patrick Mahomes. He's got the Mahomes and Auto commercial. I mean, that's crazy.
He's the MVP, dude.
Yeah, he's the MVP. And then you got Taylor Swift. I mean, she's like everywhere. Everybody knows her. Yeah, she's there, and they got her boyfriend. He's on the team. I mean,
really?
Yeah, Travis. How did they get that together? And then Mahomes' wife does like these cringy TikTok things. I don't know. I don't watch them.
And his brother.
Yeah, his brother. I mean, let's keep going. The list keeps going, man. How could you pick against them? Except for this week, because I'm doing it. We're going
Ooh.
with Baltimore this week because this Ravens defense is going to be ready and they're going to come out on fire. They're going to knock Mahomes on his ass 5 times. They're going to sack him 5 times and they're going to hit him 11. Mark it down. QB hits. And then this offense is going to plow through this Kansas City defense. They're not ready for this physical style of Baltimore. They're not ready for Lamar Jackson to rush through this defense and throw on top of that. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that because he might not be quarterbacky enough or whatever. But he's going to throw and he's going to sling it and he's going to run. And then, if that's not enough, they're going to take it to their tailbacks and let them have a field day on this Kansas City defense. Now, I know I said 21 plus last week, and that didn't go very well.
Nope.
So I'm not going to say 21 plus this week. I'm going to say 35 plus this week. We're dribbling down. Because I don't learn my lesson, but this is the time where Kansas City's fairy tales are put to an end. And to quote Edgar Allan Poe, quote the Raven, nevermore.
Wow. Man, when I tell you I'm excited for this game, that just got me even more excited. But that will be it for the JCP End Zone Perspective podcast. Cole, whatever happens next week, I'm sure it'll be a blast. Even though if the Ravens lose, I'll put a hole through my wall. But
I did not see that coming.
I hope everyone has an amazing weekend of NFC and AFC championship games. I'll be glued to my TV screen without a doubt. But I am Jay from JCP, and we're out.
God bless y'all.